and welcome to the Gold Hoops and God podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Guerra, and I'm very excited to introduce a very special guest today. My guest is Jennifer Cortez. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hello. So Jennifer is also a podcaster. We kind of met through podcasting. I was on her show pretty recently, and her podcast is called Latina Leaders. And we're growing international people. Jennifer's actually located in Canada. So it's very exciting. She is in the GTA region, Toronto region of Canada. Super exciting.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, we are going international because you were a guest on my podcast too.
Yeah.
So I love this exchange. I love that we're
So fun.
supporting each other. That's what we need to do, right?
Totally. I love it. And I think it really does kind of prove the point that Latinas are everywhere. Latinas are in many cities, many countries all over the world. So I'm really excited to talk with you today. And let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the things that I think is so beautiful about Latinas is that we are so diverse. We come from so many different backgrounds and countries and traditions. And sometimes we all get sort of thrown in a melting pot, and there's like a lot of assumptions in terms of like who we are and what we do. So I would love to hear from you personally, Jennifer, in terms of how you see yourself, how you self-identify, kind of like what the cultural norms were growing up, how your family sort of presented themselves to the world. I think also in terms of like immigration, migration, that's also a piece of the puzzle. So it's super interesting to hear from people and hear their stories.
Yeah. Okay. Where do I start? Okay,
Right,
so
where to begin?
I don't have an accent. I have maybe a Canadian one. I was born in Canada. My parents are from Ecuador, so Quito, Ecuador. My grandfather actually came to Canada first, started that with my dad.
Oh, wow.
And eventually married my mom. And that's really how it all started, coming to Canada. I was born in Canada here. And when we first started, my parents were hardworking, trying to learn the language. And of course, passing down, the culture to us. But one of the things that were important in our household growing up was my parents were very studious. They were very into books. Funny thing is, I don't know, I guess back in the day, they had big encyclopedias.
Yes, there were. Yep.
So this is before Google. This is before the
Back
internet.
in the day.
So people would actually used to come to the door and sell those encyclopedias.
Yes, they would. Door to door. Yep.
Right? National Geographics. My dad was fully into the National Geographics.
I love it.
My mom buying the encyclopedias. So, I grew up with that type.
Right.
My parents are both Gemini, so I don't know if that had something to do with it.
Oh,
But
wow.
they're very,
actually. That's interesting.
they're very studious, very loving to read and loving all of that. So I grew up with that. Also, they wanted to perfect English. They were so about learning the language and wanting to perfect it. And one of the things that they instilled in my sister, my brother, and I, so there's three of us, my siblings, I'm the middle child.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like they kept on pushing us to learn the language, the English, because the one thing that they wanted for us is not to struggle the way that they were struggling, right? Learning the language, like you have the language, you have the power, and they kept on instilling that in us. In the household, they would speak Spanish, but Spanglish too, right? Because they also were trying to learn the language. So Ecuadorian background, so there was Ecuadorian and canciones nacionales played. My mother and my grandmother, so my maternal grandmother, were both singers in Ecuador.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they actually recorded a disco, like a vinyl.
Oh my God,
We have that in the
I love it.
Yeah, I can actually share it with you after the show.
Please do. Oh my God, please do. Yes. I would love that. That's so cool.
Old, but it's a link to one of the songs on YouTube, so I could share that with you.
That's
like
perfect.
both of them harmonies singing together. They used to do that.
That's
so that is that's part of the family. So I grew up with that, listening to them sing, and it's like a nice little thing that I have because my grandmother is no longer with us. So it's a nice little
what a beautiful memory.
So what I grew up with is strong women, because my grandmother, first of all, in the 60s and 70s, you know how things used to be for women. It was all about having kids.
Oh yeah.
That's it. having kids.
Stay home, have kids, be a mom. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. My grandmother was not like that. She was
Wow.
actually a little bit of a rebel.
Love that. Love that. Good for
Right?
her.
Yeah, because it was, back in the day, it was like that. So she actually did not want to have a full,
A
like,
huge family.
huge family. She only had my mom and my aunt, so two.
Two.
After
Wow.
that, she's like, I don't want any more kids. I want
Wow.
to pursue my singing career because she
Wow.
had one, right? And so,
Incredible.
right. So back in the
Wow.
day, it's like that
A
was a no-no.
pioneer. It's so cool. Good
Yeah,
for
I was
her.
like,
Amazing.
people were looking down on
Love
that.
it.
Even her own
Yeah.
family members were looking down on that,
Sure.
telling
Sure.
her,
She's
"What are
breaking
you
the norms.
doing?"
Like she's breaking tradition. She's breaking the norms. Like, what are you doing? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I grew up with that type of
Incredible.
personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my mother was the same. Maybe not as rebellious as my grandmother, but very
Mm-hmm.
strong in personality.
Uh-huh.
So I think being a Latina and getting to know Latinas such as yourself, I feel like a lot of us have that strength in
Yes.
us.
Yes.
We also have that adaptability.
Yes.
So I grew up with that adaptability, seeing my parents, my grandmother, they just adapt, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no choice but to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of that, and I'm very grateful for that type of upbringing. We were not rich family, we're middle class, but of course my parents worked hard, and they could afford for us what we needed, like the essentials, the
Right.
education, and all of that
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I didn't have the designer stuff growing up, that all kids
Mm.
kind of want, but I didn't have
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I had the essentials. I had a roof over my head and food, which is the most important, and love,
Huge.
love
And
of a
love.
family. So as you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
Latinos, well, I grew up with my grandparents, like they were like my second parents, my
Mm-hmm.
dad, my
Me too.
paternal grandparents.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
literally, we would go to their house every weekend practically.
Same.
So we were very, very
Same.
close.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I
Yeah.
grew up. My grandmother always in the kitchen,
Mm.
always in the kitchen, making sure that we were fed, and that's pretty
That's so
much,
cute.
a bit of my upbringing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So a lot of similarities actually. My dad's side of the family is the Ecuadorian side. So my dad is from Guayaquil, Ecuador. And growing up, when I was much younger, we spent time with both. So my mom's side of the family is Guatemalan, and my maternal grandparents lived really close by, like 2 blocks
Okay.
away. So of course, like just because of proximity, I was over there like almost every day, almost every other day, and it was super cool because that's mainly how I learned Spanish. I mean,
Mhm.
and it's I understand. I understand that Spanish is a sore subject for a lot of people, a lot of first gen, second gen. I know it can be a little touchy and stuff, but I've been told, and I feel within myself that when I speak English, people don't know that I speak Spanish. Y
Okay.
cuando hablo español, tampoco, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I can easily flip
yeah,
back and forth
yeah,
between the languages without a quote unquote accent
yes,
necessarily,
yes.
right? Which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it is because again, I think especially my mom, she's like, I want you to communicate well in both. I don't
Yeah.
want you to like sacrifice one over the other or
Mhm.
feel embarrassed, or uncomfortable, when someone asks you a question and you're like, no, like it's, she wanted me to have that confidence in both languages.
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful for. I'm super, super, super grateful for that. You know, and it was not only just like learning it with family. I have to say, like, I went a step beyond and I studied it in college. I wanted to be able to read Quixote. I wanted to be able to read Federico Garcia Lorca or Carlos Fuentes or any of these great
Yeah.
authors, Isabel Allende in the original. Like I'm a big lover of books and literature, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to do that in the original language is super cool. Yeah, but it's very interesting. A lot of similarities. There's a lot of, especially when I was growing up, a lot of family parties,
Yes.
celebrations,
Birthday
birthdays, things
parties,
like
I
that.
can't forget that.
Yeah.
But they were very sencillo, right? They were
Yes.
not like
Yeah.
extravagant,
No, no, no.
but it
It
just
was
was.
just food, some music, and that was all we needed, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
so cool. So I'm curious, you mentioned I love astrology. So you mentioned that your parents were Gemini, right? Was
They
that
are,
right? Oh my gosh.
yes, they are Gemini. And
That's so
so,
funny.
yeah, it's
What's
so
your
funny.
sign? When's your birthday? Oh my
Me
goodness.
and Sagittarius,
Fire
December.
signs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, fire sign power. So we're recording in the beginning of Leo. How funny. This is the start of Leo season. My younger brother's a Leo. And I always joke, I'm like, oh my God, my parents have 2 fire sign children. God help them. Like, it's like, you know, it's because we're spicy, we're intense.
Yes, we are.
But I love, no, it's so cool. Like, I do love, yeah, I love all fire signs. Like, I get along very well with fire signs. And it's so funny. Like, I even feel, this is a little bit woo woo. Even energetically, I do feel my best. We'll say that I feel my best during fire sign seasons or water seasons, because I also have Cancer. I'm a Cancer rising, so water signs. So what is that? Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So they're those time periods. I feel like my most like me, you know, like most intense. Like
and you know what? The water kind of calms us down a little
bit. It does a little bit, yeah. Do you know your all 3 of your signs? Do you know? So you're Sagittarius, and do you know your other signs? Yeah.
My other ones, I'm trying to remember, because I remember looking it up.
Yeah.
I'm not as intensely, but I remember looking. I think, oh my gosh, I can't remember at the top of my head right now.
That's all good. It's all good.
but yeah, no, I think it wasn't Cancer. It was something else. I think it was Pisces. I something like that. I don't know. I gotta look into it again because I forgot what it is.
It's fun. It's fun. I feel like it was honestly like learning more about astrology and tarot and those things. I feel like it really has been like this treasure map, like this mystery box, like unlocked. I love it. It's super fascinating.
I haven't actually fully gotten into it, but I love the oracle cards.
Yeah.
I have a set.
Well, you made some recently, right? Oh my God, perfect segue. Tell me more about the oracle cards. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so the oracle cards, the one that I'm talking about right now is not made by me. They're called Moonology. I don't know if you've heard of those.
Yes. I had Moonology deck. That's a great deck. Yeah.
The one that you're talking about is Affirmation. So recently created affirmation cards for Latina leaders. And this is just a thing that I wanted to do because I think it's important to, say affirmations to ourselves. I really believe in vibration, the vibration frequencies that even our voice, everything sounds. There is a vibration. So we really have to watch the things that we say to ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, the things that we watch, the things that we listen to. Like there's so many things you have to be careful. Like even if it's an innocent song and you're singing this like really depressing song.
Yes. You're bringing it into your, yes. Right? You're like bringing it onto yourself. It's so true. It's so true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I recently created these with the help of a friend. So I'm going to give her a shout out right now. Her name is Vanya. So shout out to Vanya. So basically, I'm kind of like revamping them a little bit, just a little bit more, but they're going to be on sale soon. Awesome. They're for just Latina leaders, just to, I guess, bring forth that abundance, maybe clients, if you're looking for clients, business, love, that type of thing. And they're in Spanglish. So
I love it.
I purposely did it that way.
Perfect.
Just because I want to clarify that Latina Leaders is open, not just to, Spanish speaking, but also to BIPOC women, because I did that on purpose because I did have an online meeting for the first very Latina leader meeting that I had this year in February. And there were some people that attended that were from the US. And I was actually surprised, right? That they happened to find my event on Eventbrite. And 2 of them there said that they spoke absolutely no Spanish at all. Right? So I thought it's important to include, it doesn't matter like the level of language that you speak.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I love that. You know what? And to your point, I do feel like many Latinas, unfortunately, they are made to feel like they are not enough, or they're not Latina enough because they don't quote unquote look the part. Right? They don't look the part. They don't speak Spanish, etc. Especially, for example, like our more indigenous sisters, African American, Afro Latina sisters. It's like not fitting in anywhere, and I've heard many people express this frustration of like not being welcome, not feeling like they fit in, etc. And so I love that you were intentional about that, and you have more of a bilingual approach. That's super cool.
That's super cool. I talk that way too.
Yeah.
Hablo español, pero no practico todos los días, right? So but you can kind of tell I have an accent when I speak Spanish. So sometimes I'm a little bit, un poquito recelo, tengo recelo hablando español, pero es práctica, ¿no?
Yeah. Yeah,
Sí.
it's amazing. Yeah, so continuing on the conversation about like oracle cards, faith, religion. I would love to hear from you. It was a perfect segue. I would love to hear from you in terms of, if you grew up with any particular religious practice or religious background, and kind of how you understand those things today, right? Like as an adult, because I know for many of us that can shift, right? That can shift over time. For example, many of us do grow up in Catholic households, but don't really practice anymore, that kind of thing. So I'd be curious to hear from you, sort of what your experiences have been.
Yeah, absolutely. So absolutely, my parents Catholic,
Yeah.
coming from Ecuador, and
Mhm.
I can tell you growing up, we did go to church. I
Oh,
can tell you that my grandparents were fully into La Biblia.
okay.
And I
Mhm.
do remember when we were kids sleeping over my grandparents' house, and my grandmother would actually read scriptures to us,
Mm.
as like almost like a bedtime story. So I
Oh,
remember,
wow.
yeah, so
That's
as
cool.
kids, for me, it was, yeah, as a kid, I used to think it was really boring. Okay.
Right. Kids,
It was boring to
for
me.
kids, they're like, unless it's like some Disney or adventure, it's like, oh my God, like I don't want to.
But I
Right.
fell asleep pretty fast.
Oh, that's
Let me
really funny.
let me tell you.
That's so funny.
So yeah, I did grow up with that. But obviously, I guess I would say when I was a teenager, things like that, I actually started to not be so involved anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just kind of finding my own way. Not
Yeah.
that I never ever lost faith in God. Like I
That's
always
beautiful.
believed, and I still do to this day, that everything happened in my life for a reason. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to God. I
Totally.
truly believe in that.
That's
But I
awesome.
truly also believe in God is love. That's what I
Yeah.
did learn.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really like, I feel like certain religions kind of push, and I don't want to get too much into religions, but certain
Sure.
kind of religions push that if you're not this religion, then you are
Right.
sinning. If you're not this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is what the problem was for me when I saw
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And I don't want to speak specifically on which religion I'm speaking of. I'm not talking about the Catholic religion, but I'm talking about
Mhm.
it. There was a religion that was involved growing
Mhm.
up that kind of pushed that if you're not this religion, then
That's it. Like,
that's
right.
it. You're sinning. You're gonna die. Blah blah blah
Right.
blah. All that
Right.
stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
And so
That's
that
tough.
is
Mhm.
that's what
Mhm.
turned me off,
Mhm. Makes
actually,
sense. Yeah.
from religion, for a while, because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so I can't be friends with these people. I can't do this
Right.
and this and this because they're sinning. Like, it just
Right.
a lot of stuff that was being preached at the time. So
Mhm.
it just really turned me off. And then I kind of went my own type of way.
Sure. Yeah.
And my parents also were like, they're Catholic, but they stopped practicing. We didn't go to church as much
Uh-huh.
anymore.
Yeah.
But I never stopped believing in God. So that thing
Mhm.
really stuck with God is love. It really stuck.
Mhm.
So for me
Mhm.
and my own, I kind of created my own belief that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what religion you are, as long as you are, you believe in something you believe in,
Mhm.
even if
Mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
God, it's not a
Mhm.
higher
Mhm.
being, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna like you're
Right.
just,
Right.
you have your relationship, your personal
Yeah.
relationship. That's how I feel. So I do pray. I
Beautiful. Mhm.
do have my own relationship, and I still do practice that. But one thing I have
Mhm.
learned, I would say about 10 years now, is getting more into meditation and the
Mhm.
spirituality part versus the religion part, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I started meditation, I think over 10 years ago. It was 2015-ish. Yeah, 10 years ago.
Amazing. Mhm.
And I never did it before because I didn't know how to do it. It's like practice. But I had a friend at the time that knew how to do it and was kind of, let me show you, let's do it together type of thing. And then I got an app called Calm at the time.
Yes, yes. The
Yes,
Calm app is great. Yeah.
the app. And
Yeah.
then after that, I really feel like I tapped into a different side
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
myself, of my soul, right?
Totally.
And that opened up the doors to other things. Once I started
Mhm.
to do that, so that opened up
Mhm.
the doors to yoga practice. So I
Oh,
started yoga
good.
practice.
Yeah.
I love hot yoga to this. I do hot yoga.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have to do it. It just releases everything, and I feel
Yeah.
so good after.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so it just really
I
got
have to
me.
confess, I've never tried it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I haven't tried it yet. I've done regular yoga, but I haven't done the hot yoga yet.
I would
It could be
recommend,
good. It could be good.
I would
Yeah.
recommend because,
Yeah.
like, I get, especially with work and being on the computer, you get like tension in your shoulders and neck.
Mhm. Mhm.
That seems to be the only, aside from massages, that seems to be the other only thing that releases my tension
Mhm.
in those specific areas and just makes
Mhm.
me feel good overall. So I
I
do
love that.
recommend. The very first time I felt like I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could survive
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah. I've heard that. It's like I'm gonna pass
class.
out. I feel like I'm gonna die in here.
And
It's
I'm like,
crazy.
oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, but there's nothing wrong. Like, don't be embarrassed because you can get up and go
Yeah.
outside. Just
I
take a
think you
breath.
build up, right? Like you kind of
Yeah,
build up your tolerance and stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So now I can tolerate the whole class. And with these heat waves coming on, I
Oh
feel
my
like
gosh.
I'm prepared, right? Because like I can survive in that class.
That's so funny.
So that really led to a different part and even sound healing. So I
Oh,
actually,
nice. Mhm.
yes, learned. I have the crystal sound bowls. I learned all of that, the sound healing, and
Mhm.
I love it. I love all of it.
That's so amazing. Yeah, I really enjoy sound healing, sound baths, things like that. I've gotten very much more into Reiki more recently. I would say
Oh,
in the
nice.
last year or
Yep.
two.
Uh-huh.
Super helpful. I will, put on Reiki healing music. There are tons of excellent pages on YouTube, like Reiki healing. I think there's a woman, her name is Alchemy Healing, Alchemy Reiki. Reiki Rachel is really good. So helpful. And for different things, right? Like, let's say if you want to sort of clear negative energy, or if you need to cleanse your heart chakra, or if you
Mhm.
want, a self empowerment, like different energies, vibrations, etc. It's really, really great.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So that's one of the interesting things, like from a very academic standpoint, like I have spent the majority of my adult life thinking about religion, thinking about faith, right?
Mhm.
Especially um, in college, my bachelor's was in theology. I did my PhD in religion. So can you imagine, like
Right.
the hours, the
Yes.
hours and hours and numbers of books that I have read about
Oh,
God? It's crazy, and
well,
it's honestly like it's really beautiful in the sense of I truly see more similarity across the world religions than differences, right? I'm like, the whole point is love, actually, right?
right.
Across the board, like all the major religions, that's what they, at the root of it, the purpose is supposed to be about love and kind. It's very simple, actually. Love, kindness, compassion, love of neighbor, like solidarity, justice, like these very kind of abstract concepts in a way, but they're implemented amongst our communities, right? It's like
Right.
living out that's the hard part. It's like the living out of justice, the living out of love, welcoming the stranger, all these kind of things. And unfortunately, like you were saying, people get so caught up in the details, or also people get so caught up in wanting to be right. Like, I want to be the only one, the number one with the correct answer. It's like, that's not what life is.
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
that's not what life is about. You know what I'm saying? And truly, I really believe like none of us are going to know for sure until our time here on this 3D reality is done. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows for right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone saying, like,
And you
for sure.
studied it so well too, and they're
It's like, there's
probably
no way. No, there's no way. Like,
yeah.
I have my own convictions because of, you know, things that I've gone through, right? Things that I've seen, studying, conversations, etc. And even still, I leave that possibility open, right? I leave the possibility of being surprised, being shocked, being, learning something new. Like, I leave that space because there's no way. I remember so clearly, I may have said this on the podcast before. I remember so clearly one of my professors in grad school saying, if somebody tells you that they have God figured out, or if they act like they have God figured out, run the other way. That's a problem. Like, that is a big problem, because
Yeah.
God is literally, by definition, infinite, right? God is the great mystery.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and we can call, I use God almost like as a shorthand, but it can also be like the universe, love, universal energies, however person feels better, about talking about that energy, entity, etc. but yeah, like in the in the Western world, growing up Catholic, I still use the word God. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah. That's super cool. I love it. Oh my goodness. Oh, this has been so fun.
Yeah.
This is such a fun conversation, Jennifer. Let's see. Ah, yes. So I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you are the middle child. So do you tell me about
Yeah.
your family structure, like your siblings and stuff. I would love to hear.
Yeah, so okay, so it was my sister and I for the longest time
Yeah.
by ourselves, just
Yeah.
and my brother came like my brother's 7 years younger than me.
My
He
brother's
came
10 years younger than me. How
okay.
funny. I,
So
I get it.
it was unexpected. So it was two girls, and I guess my
Oh,
dad wanted a boy at some point.
oh, yeah.
And my mom says the last time I'm gonna try, and 7 years later,
That's
okay,
great.
my
Yeah.
brother comes along.
Surprise.
Of
Yeah.
course, I was still young at the time, and I'm like, I thought it was just us, and then
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
thing.
Here's his boy. Like that. That's so cute. That's
Right?
funny.
And of course, my brother followed me around when I was like a kid.
Same.
You know what I mean? Because
Same.
yes, and it's
Same.
like when you're hit a teenager, they still follow you around, and it's like stop following me around. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. I get it. I totally get it. With the little brother thing, it's like, oh my God. Yeah.
right? So yeah, but the dynamic, I would say that my sister. I guess my parents were very strict, very
Hmm.
very strict with my sister and I.
Hmm.
Two girls. My sister was
Girls.
the first child.
Yeah.
I was like, and and my brother. So it's funny because we all kind of have a musical background. Like my mom was a singer. My dad was
That's
in
so
a
cool.
band when
Oh
in
wow.
Ecuador.
Lots
Yeah.
of music. Oh my
So
gosh.
it's musical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My younger brother, he actually produces music. So
Wow.
yeah, so my very first physical CD that I had that I released in 2008, my brother produced several of the actual
That's
instrumentals
so
to those songs,
cool.
right? So he had
I
a
love it.
hand in that project.
That's so cool.
My sister is also a singer. She just hasn't been active in it, but she can also sing very well, very artistic as well
Amazing.
in drawing and things
How
like that.
cool.
My brother's also a drawer. I'm not a drawer for some reason. I'm more in the design part. So I went into
Yeah,
the graphic design eventually
that's great.
and like magazine design and all that stuff.
That's so
So a lot of
cool.
the stuff that I learned back in the day is helping me a lot right now with the Latina
Yeah.
Leaders and promotion.
Perfect. See? Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so growing up with them, I would say, of course, I love the two of them.
Yeah.
We are a close family. Of course, we had our moments. You know what
Like
I
every
mean?
family,
Like
it's
every
normal. Yeah, yeah.
siblings do.
Yeah.
But my parents really did try to instill in us to love each other, to support each other,
Mhm.
and always never go to bed angry. That
Mhm.
was the one thing. So if we had a fight, they forced us to hug. And
Oh.
yes, so when you're angry, you know them feeling when you're still angry. It's like, no, we're
Yeah.
not,
They're like,
no
"Don't touch
hugs.
me."
I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. I love that. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just my brother and I. He's a lot younger, but thankfully like we're super super close. I think when we were younger, we butt heads like everybody
Of
like
course.
any family would.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, of course, actually my family, my brother is texting me right now. He
Oh,
must
oh,
have felt me talking
you guys
about
are
him. That's really
talking about
funny.
them. That's what's
Oh my
happening.
gosh. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So anyway, but when we were younger, of course, like any siblings, we had our little moments. But now that we're older, we get along really well. We actually just went to a concert like last week together. We
Oh,
both love
nice.
EDM. Yeah, it's really great. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay, Jennifer. So as we wrap up, is there any advice that you would like to share for young Latinas or kind of in reflection? Like if you could tell your younger self any advice, what would it be?
When I think back, there's just like so many things, but I'm gonna try to focus on the main thing I would say is to really not be afraid to make mistakes. Because when I was
Mm,
younger,
okay.
especially when I was like leaving high school, going into college,
Yeah.
I was so worried about choosing the wrong career or choosing the wrong path or choose
Okay.
like just always doing the wrong thing for some reason. I was always so focused on that. Am I going to regret this? Am I going to, but then when you get older,
Mhm.
as you realize that there's so many different paths your life can take
Totally.
and you constantly are evolving in life, you know
Exactly.
what I mean? Or reinventing, like to this day, you know, you're still learning new things constantly. And so everything that you've learned up until this point, for the past 10, 20 years will help you in some way, shape, or form with whatever you're doing
So true.
now, right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting how everything really does come together. Like I just finished saying that everything I learned back in the day, like I went into graphic design and advertising. That was my very first choice straight out of high school. And then, you know, not thinking, okay, and maybe I'll make a mistake. Maybe I should do something more serious, like, you know, something a little, but that was my path at the time. And now when I'm working with Latina leaders, I actually teach marketing and advertising communication to college students, right? So it was like a whole circle moment.
Yeah.
I have many years working in agency and marketing departments and corporate, working for just doing all the creative portions, right? So I do have that experience. And even with Latina leaders, you know, as an entrepreneur with startup, you know that, you know, budgets are very limited. So you can't always be sourcing out work. And so I still do the creative work for, you know, that has helped me, right?
The
So
one woman show sometimes. Yeah, it's so true. Entrepreneurship is no joke. Yeah.
even my music, for example, like even the album covers that I created, like if you go onto Spotify, onto Jennifer Cortez, or my artist name is also the Prof, by the way.
I
I don't
love
think I told you this.
it. I don't think you
The
told me,
Prof.
no.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about that. It's a reggaeton, tropicalectic type of
Oh my
music.
God, I love it.
I have bachata, I have
Love it.
reggaeton. Yeah, so if you look the Prof, you'll find. I'll send you a link.
So cool.
But that's on Spotify. I'm like everywhere, but also under Jennifer Cortez, because Jennifer Cortez was first. That was who I was in terms of my album that I created. Like when I listen back to the lyrics in like 2008, what I wrote, all my songs,
Wow.
I'm like half the time I'm cringing because I'm just like, oh my
Oh.
gosh, like you know,
We
but
grow. You know what I mean? That's part of the evolution and growth.
exactly.
You
So I'm
put
like,
yourself
okay,
out there. That's the whole point. That's the
let
biggest
me
thing is
just
like
leave
you put
it.
yourself out there.
Let
That's
me
great.
just leave it. Let me
Good
not
for
touch it.
you.
And then I took a break from music. I came back.
Ah.
I would say I came back 5 years later, but I was started to teach. So I wanted to come back as the prof, or
So
come with
cool.
something fun.
Yeah.
And then it turned into this whole, because even my taste in music changed. So I was
Sure.
so into R&B and hip hop in the 2000s. Like that was my thing. And then Frankie J. I don't know if you know Frankie J. He's an artist, like R&B hip hop artist. He actually opened the doors in terms of inspiring me, like when I was performing gigs in Spanglish. So he would do a lot of songs in Spanglish.
Great.
And so my album was inspired by Frankie J and his
I love it.
style. So yeah, so a lot of changes, I have to say. So in
Amazing.
terms of the advice, going back to the advice, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Like if I look back to the things that I did, yeah, some things may make me cringe, but it all is for a reason, right? Like there's I would say there's no mistakes. You know what I mean?
And that can be hard. You know what I mean? Like it can be hard to look at things that way, right? It takes time sometimes, and it may take quite a bit of distance, you know, in terms of like looking back and reflecting, being like, okay, that wasn't a mistake. That was a learning opportunity. I've grown, I've changed, but you know, it doesn't happen overnight. Like none of this happens overnight. So we're all in progress.
You get there.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, this is so amazing. This was a lovely conversation. So, folks, my guest, Jennifer Cortez, you can find her on Instagram. I'll make sure to tag all the socials, and make sure you listen to Latina Leaders podcast and check out her music too. It's super awesome.
By the way, this hat is from Latina Leaders, Latina CEO. If you like this hat, it's on my website. So Latina Leaders, unite.org.
Perfect. Yes, you can buy your merch as well. It's awesome. Yay. All right. So, folks, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to the Gold Hoops and God podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Guerra. Make sure you tune in. My new episodes are released every Wednesday. You can listen to the podcast on iHeart, Spotify, on Apple podcasts as well. And you can find the videos of the interviews on YouTube. I post those every Wednesday at 1:11 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Guerra.
Bye.
Ciao.